my latest archaeological, theological, and astronomical discoveries uncovers the ceiling area of a cross-shaped building structure in Ethiopia, in Lalibela. The micropixelated surface image reveals an African atom E8 face. Now this is the E8 Mars face that was seen in the 1976 Viking frame 35A72 satellite imagery of the Sidonian 5 pyramid area on Mars. Now when we look at the 41.2 degrees north stone face on Mars, we will immediately be looking at embryonic stone structure. It looked like a white shrimp, a mountain-sized shrimp, and that's what a fetus looks like within the embryo of a woman back here on Earth. So when we look at African atom connected to Mars face, we're looking at the embryonic origin of humanity. Now, when we compare the E8 Mars face in the ceiling post area in Lalibela, cross-shaped building structure, to the stone face of Sidonia, we immediately see the origins of African atom. However, the Sidonian SOL 103 Curiosity rover images reveals African pyramids that have an apex. Now, we also see the 784 Dome of the Rock Globe Earth Stealth Pyramid Locator Projection image. It looks like 5 blocks stacked on top of one another on the left side, that they form a step that you walk upon. And if you do the same thing with the right side, stack 5 blocks on top of one another, that they form a step that you walk upon, you're looking at a black African Babylonian stealth pyramid. This is a part of the Dome of the Rock in Jerusalem outer wall stone rectangular window frame 784 image. So when we connect the ceiling post area in Lalibela squares, we are looking at the corners of the square. So when we look at 3 squares side by side, we're looking at the Isaiah 1919 Giza pyramid, 356 cubit apotem lines. Now this conforms to the North Pole concentrically viewed map image of planet Earth. That's the image when you place the Earth at your feet and look straight down upon it like a basketball. Now if you put a small, well, just say the meridian lines and longitudinal lines, if you're looking down upon the North Pole concentrically viewed map image of planet Earth, they look like spokes in a bicycle wheel. Now when we talk about the octagon of the Dome of the Rock in Jerusalem, we're looking at the double Masonic square base of the Giza pyramids, and the cross-shaped building structure in Lalibela that was carved out of solid bedrock. The area that was left formed the square. The square is so deep that if you jump down in it, and once you reach the bottom of the cup, you're looking up from the cubic dimensions of New Jerusalem. Why? And how do we know this? Because every cube has a square for a ceiling, a square for a floor, a square for a left and right wall. So when we reconnect Lalibela ceiling image of a Sphinx 44, we see an African pyramid that has the apex, and it also has an all-seeing eye. So I'm referring to the African Adam and Eve image that's decoded within the ceiling post area of Lalibela. Micropixelated ceiling surface image. Now the Sphinx 44 face is the African Sphinx of Genesis 49 chapter and 8 verse. He's referred to as the 4th son of Jacob, who couched down as a lion and as an old lion, and that all of thy father's children shall bow down unto thee. They're talking about Jacob. So when we go back to the orbiting pyramid around our sun, in which was filmed by the National Space Administration, we see common ice and Chinese satellite image pyramid 7 form connected to the seal of King Solomon. That's the 6-point star. So if we hold a pyramid in our upper hand and one in our lower hand and point them towards one another, we see 2 triangles interlocking to form the 6-point star seal of King Solomon. This is an African 6-point star origin, in which the Israeli 6-point star was copied from. So when we go back to the cube orbiting around our sun, it's connected to 3 fingers and 1 thumb, gray extraterrestrial guardians of our entire solar system. Now this is where we see African Adam and Eve being created by gray aliens and black extraterrestrials. I refer to it as the Sinai Alien 1 face, generated from the air-reviewed Sinai Mountains, and the Alien 33. Now Alien 33 face looked like a black extraterrestrial. He looked like an African with big black oval-shaped eyes, thick nose, and lips. Now when we go back to Alien 33 connected to Ethiopia's cross-shaped building structure, we see HJE9 alien. Now remember, this HJE9 alien is holding an Angora gorilla in his arm, and he's holding an E8 African Adam face up with his other hand. So we see the Mars squares within the ceiling post area that has the E8 gorilla lion type facial structure. The micropixelated surface image of the E8 gorilla-like facial structure reveals a baby alien and planets. Okay. When we look at the European face, now this is where we come full circle to the origin of Adam in the 400-year-old mistranslated King James Bible, being connected to the Angora gorilla, and then it was created into African Adam. So in the Bible, in the 400-year-old mistranslated King James Bible, all of the animals was created first in the Garden of Eden. Another word for garden, where fruits, vegetables, apples, and oranges grow, is jungle, because the same thing grows in the jungle in Africa that grows in the Garden of Eden. So when we talk about the Angora gorilla running through the jungle, then we're talking about the origins of African Adam that was educated, this Angora gorilla, and DNA spliced to give us the modern African Adam. Now this is the E8 African Adam. Now on Mars, we see African pyramids that have apexes. When we go to the Dome of the Rock, outer wall, stone rectangular window frame in Jerusalem, or 784, we see an ancient black African Babylonian style pyramid image. Now when we look at the cross-shaped building structure in Lalibela, air view from a helicopter, we see the same Dome of the Rock black African Babylonian style pyramid. It's the 784 image. So when we compare all of these geometric style pyramid images to the ceiling post area in Lalibela, we're looking at the architectural origin of the Dome of the Rock, as well as its 784 Babylonian style pyramid in its outer wall stone rectangular window frame. Now there is an E8 African face connected to the 41.2 degrees north stone face of Sidonia that was taken in the 1976 Viking frame 35A72 satellite imagery of the National Space Administration. So when we look at the micropixelated alien face image, we see Alien 33 resembling the 1952 UFO that was an alien that was filmed in a UFO placed on the internet. If you type that in Google or YouTube search engine, you're going to see that this black-skinned alien resembles Alien 33. So this would be connected to the biological extraterrestrial life form that was in Ezekiel's will within the world like UFO, and the 2011 modern Dome of the Rock UFO.